What does it mean to become the face of an era? In 1936, a single photograph of a weary mother and her children captured the weight of the Great Depression. That image, known as Migrant Mother, became one of the most reproduced photographs in American history. But the woman in the frame, Florence Owens Thompson, later said, "I wish she hadn't taken my picture." This is the story of Dorothea Lange, the photographer who turned hardship into history, and Florence Owens Thompson, whose likeness became both a symbol and a burden. Dorothea Lange was finishing a month-long assignment for the Federal Resettlement Administration in California. Her car was packed, her film already shot, and she was eager to return home to Berkeley. On Highway 101, she passed a sign that read, "Pea Pickers Camp." At first, she kept driving. Lange later recalled, "I didn't want to stop, and I didn't. Almost, without realizing what I was doing, I made a U-turn on the empty highway." At a camp of 2,500 farm workers stranded by a failed pea crop, she saw a mother in a lean-to tent. Florence Owens Thompson, a 32-year-old widow of Cherokee descent, with her 6 children. Florence had just sold the tires from her car to buy food. In about 10 minutes, Lange exposed 7 negatives. She later retouched one to reduce the visibility of a thumb in the frame's edge. That photograph first captured destitute pea pickers in California, mother of 7 children, age 32, Nipomo, California, became known as Migrant Mother. It was published in newspapers within days. The government rushed aid, $200,000 worth of food and medical supplies, to the camp. But Florence and her family had already left with her partner Jim Hill in their repaired car. They never received the relief the photograph was credited with inspiring. Florence Owens was born in Indian Territory in 1903. Widowed at a young age, she raised her children through years of seasonal labor, moving from farm to farm. Her daughter later explained why Florence resented the photo. She was a very strong woman. She was a leader. That's one reason she resented the photo, because it didn't show her in that light. For decades, Florence lived under the shadow of Migrant Mother. The image appeared in textbooks, art exhibitions, and even U.S. postage stamps. She never received money from it and rarely gave permission for its use. But because the image was in the public domain, she had no legal rights to it. Dorothea Lange expressed sympathy, but Florence's likeness had already become part of the national narrative that she could not control. Florence Owens Thompson died in 1983. For her, Migrant Mother remained both a source of unwanted attention and a reminder of survival. Dorothea Lange was born in Hoboken, New Jersey in 1895. She studied photography in New York, and by the 1920s, she had her own successful business in San Francisco. When the Great Depression struck, she turned her lens away from society portraits towards the unemployed and homeless on the streets. Her camera no longer served wealthy clients. It bore witness. In 1935, Lange began working for the Resettlement Administration, later the Farm Security Administration. She partnered with economist Paul Taylor, who became her husband and collaborator. Together, they traveled across the country documenting the lives of migrant workers, sharecroppers, and displaced families. Lange's photographs turned statistics into human stories. Roy Stryker, who directed the FSA photography project, later said of Migrant Mother, "When Dorothea took that picture, that was the ultimate. To me, it was the picture of farm security. The others were marvelous, but that was special." During World War II, Lange documented the forced removal and incarceration of Japanese Americans. She photographed families boarding buses, children behind barbed wire, and businesses closed by government order. Her images were so unflinching that the U.S. Army impounded them. Most were not seen by the public until decades later. Dorothea Lange died in 1965. One left a body of work that shaped documentary photography. The other left a family and a life lived beyond the single frame that defined her. Migrant Mother endures, but it also leaves us with questions. Who owns a story once it's photographed? Can an image both honor and exploit its subject? What power and what responsibility does the photographer hold? Dorothea Lange believed the camera could be an instrument of democracy, a way to make invisible lives visible. But Florence Owens Thompson's story reminds us that photographs can oversimplify, distort, and even overshadow the people they mean to honor. Images can teach us, move us, and inspire us to notice the lives behind them. So pause and reflect as you let these stories shape how you see the world.